In our interview, I spoke with the Special Advisor to the President on Economic Affairs, Dr. Adeyemi, Dipeolu, and he talks about what is expected after recovering from the recession and how the recovery can translate to improved standard of living for all Nigerians. Dr. Adeyemi Dipeolu, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
So it's official now. Nigeria is out of recession. I mean, the economy, the GDP grew by 0.55%, in the second quarter of 2017. But the big worry is still out there. Nigerians are still feeling the pinch of the food pricing, which is still on the increase. How is this of worry to the government?
I think the critical thing to bear in mind is that the economy is on an upward trajectory. In other words, and I like to give that example, it sounds simple, but if you've been through a bout of malaria, you don't run 100 meters the following day. You sort of begin to eat better, you begin to stretch your limbs and walk. So it's the same way. You're out of the recession in the sense that you are now on the positive. So it's the upswing. So once you've recovered, then you begin to gradually build up momentum. Now, how will that momentum be built up? Basically, it will be by following up on the things that are being done already and deepening them, improving the macroeconomic profile of the economy, trying to bring inflation down, trying to manage the fiscal deficits, trying to raise the revenues you need to be able to run the economy well. But also beginning to focus even greater attention on the priorities of agriculture, on the priorities of infrastructure, on the priorities of transport, power, petroleum self-sufficiency, and indeed on industrialization.
What about interest rates?
Interest rates, the effort to bring interest rates down is happening in two ways. The first way would be, of course, to try and reduce the demand of the federal government on the domestic money market. And therefore you heard about the attempt to try and refinance some of the domestic debt into foreign debt, because foreign exchange rates now are in the region of 2, 3, 4%. At the worst, the issue of our bond at about 6% will give you a mark rather than borrowing at 15, 16, 17, 18%. And so you will get some less pressure on the domestic money market there. That's one of the ways the interest rates will come down. But why do we want interest rates to come down? Because the cost of borrowing must come down. And one of the ways that government will do that also is to focus a bit more specifically on the intervention funds. So the Anchor Borrowers Program, for instance, has given farmers ability to borrow some money at less than market rates. And some of the intervention funds that you have in the Bank of Industry, the repositioning of the Bank of Agriculture, the creation of the Development Bank of Nigeria, the attempt to bring mortgages in at single digit, will combine to give some of the more priority sectors some access to resources at less than high interest rates.
But we're looking at the comments made by the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, where he mentioned that Nigeria can only have been said to be out of recession when Nigerians can afford 3 square meals.
Yes, I have all the greatest respect for the former Vice President. But I think the President said a similar thing. His Excellency the President said he would not be satisfied until the average Nigerian began to feel the impact of an improved economy. So I think we're all agreed about that. We're all on the same page. But I always like to emphasize that development is a marathon, not a sprint. In other words, it's a long-term process. The countries we look at that we admire and have turned their economies around have done so through a patient, consistent, long-sighted way of moving towards development. And I'm saying that by the same token, we can do the same in Nigeria. We set our trajectory, we position our trajectory, we take the right policies, and we build on them slowly and steadily. And the critical thing always is to keep your eye on the ball and to remain focused.